I spent all these frustrating years sitting in the boat hearing these references to mounds and humps and bumps and things floating on the surface and not sinking. And then in 1970, I said to one of the amateur divers, "This is crazy. It's as if I was on a land site and I never left the site hut and looked in the trenches. I'm trying to understand third hand." And he said, "Well, why don't you learn to dive?" And so at his behest, I went to Southampton branch of the British Sabbatical Club. And with the diving officer's consent, they trained me to dive in the pool at Southampton. And then lo and behold, on the first dive in 1971, one of the people who trained me, the late Percy Ackland, dived on the Melrose site, in fact on a new site a bit to the south of where we had been working, and he came up and said, "There are timbers sticking from the mud." Well, I didn't have a suit or anything, and I was new pool diver, not an open sea diver. So it was a fortnight till we went out again. In the meantime, I got myself a cheap off-the-shelf wetsuit, and my first open water dive was on the Mary Rose. And I will never, ever forget it, because I went down a shot line with Maury Young, who was one of my personal trainers, and it was very dark and very gloomy, and gradually through the gloom I could see the seabed, and sticking out of the seabed about 8 timbers, sticking up like rotten tooth stumps, and I banged them with my fist, and they were solid and sound, not papier-mâché. And Maury said to me, "Come up, you've been down long enough." And I went up and I said, "She really is there." And that was my first dive on the site. Now all the other poor guys had been diving on the site since 1967, but it was fantastic, and I will never ever forget it. I think the first dive on any site is memorable. The mind races, your imagination runs riot. How many years is this going to take? How much is there down below?